It was a close fight, wasn't it? For me, at least. I scored it a draw. So maybe 1 round to Beterbiev. But again, it just comes down to what you like, doesn't it? This is why boxing is so confusing. I mean, both guys were hitting the guards of the opponents. So maybe just based on the fact that Beterbiev was more the aggressor, maybe you would have scored some more rounds to him. But, there were swing rounds. There were rounds where Bivol was winning, but then Beterbiev just had the stronger finish. So a very close fight. I would have scored it a draw. I wouldn't be that upset with 1 round to Beterbiev. 116, 112 is crazy. Like, absolutely crazy. How'd you get 116, 112 to Beterbiev? But I wasn't that dissatisfied with the result, like majority draw to Beterbiev. Beterbiev looked huge in there. Like, Beterbiev looked more like a cruiserweight, and Bivol looked like a super middleweight coming up. But Bivol has always looked a bit smaller. I remember watching him against Craig Richards thinking, yeah, he does look like a smaller bloke in here. So that's why I always thought like his criticism against Canelo was always a bit unfair when people say, oh, he beat the much smaller Canelo. Like, Bivol's not the biggest like heavyweight himself. So I thought it was a close fight. It was a very chess match, high IQ boxing game. Bivol, again, he can feel hard done by, right? He deserves loads of credit for, being the first guy to not get knocked out by Beterbiev. I think he's going to kick himself for those last 2 rounds. Like, obviously he was, I'm sure he was tired, mentally finished. But if he just finished a bit, if he just probably won those last 2 rounds, he probably would have won the fight or got a draw. So maybe he's going to be kicking himself. But honestly, both guys, I think they can come away feeling good. Obviously, Beterbiev's, he's got the belts, but Bivol, has got a fairly strong argument to say that it should have been a draw, or I could have won it. So, yeah, I wasn't that upset with the draw, with the result. I thought it was a draw, but 116, 112 is mental. How did you get 116, 112 to Beterbiev? I thought they were going to give it to Bivol when I heard 116, 112. I thought the judges would have just preferred that Bivol style, and it looked like, I thought like the politics of boxing meant that Bivol would have been more likely to win, because Bivol's the younger guy. He's probably got a little bit more of the casual following, and you can build him into a bit more of a star, whereas Beterbiev is 39, probably at the end of his career. So I thought if they were going to give it like one way and be slightly influenced by politics, I thought they would have given it to Bivol, but Beterbiev did win. Do I want to see it run back? I don't know. Like, we've seen rematches can be exciting. Obviously, on this card, we saw Frazer Clarke versus Fabio Wardley, which was mental. Absolutely mental. So, a rematch, I don't know if I'd be against it. Like, I feel like it would be a repeat. Sort of like a 12-round chess match again. I wouldn't see it being any different. So maybe I don't feel like the most excitement for a rematch ever. I wouldn't be against it. Would Beterbiev be even better, without his injured knee? But then, they can both learn from the fight. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Beterbiev Bivol. Let me go down the rest of the card. Fabio Wardley, Frazer Clarke. I always think people put far too much emphasis on people's amateur backgrounds. I think amateur boxing, professional boxing, they're 2 different sports. Like, it's 3 rounds and it's 12 rounds. Like, that is 2 different sports. No head guards, smaller gloves. What you do in the amateurs is just different to the pro ranks. And I think not having an amateur background can actually help you in the pro game. Because people just don't, when you don't have that traditional boxing training, people just don't expect what you do, Fabio Wardley doesn't do like the traditional boxing stuff, but he's just got that dog in him, he's got that power. And he just blew Frazer Clarke away, didn't he? It's the same with Anthony Yard, he came from the white collar background, and he's a top light heavyweight as well. So I don't think an amateur background really counts so much. But yeah, I was shocked. I thought like Frazer's amateur background would at least get him through the first 3 rounds. I thought he'd have the knack and the know-how to navigate the first 3 rounds without being knocked out. But yeah, it was a crazy knockout. I hope Frazer's okay. I've never seen anything like that. A hole in his skull, his jaw just completely gone to the wrong side. It was the first time I looked at someone being knocked out, and I actually feel sorry for you. Like, that's mental. Like, can you imagine that? I don't think people realise, like, the effect that takes on it. You've been in a training camp for 12 weeks. Every single one of those weeks, you're telling yourself, I'm going to be British champion. I'm going to be British champion. You're manifesting. You're seeing yourself with that belt. You're telling everyone you're going to win. And then you get knocked out in the first round. That is mental. Like, it's crazy. So, yeah, I can only feel for Fabio Wardley. I can only feel for Frazer Clarke, but Fabio Wardley, what a statement. Oh, yeah, I did want to touch on Frazer Clarke's weight. Like, I thought that was absolutely mental, pitting on, where they pit on 20 kg. It's absolutely mental. Like, when you're fighting at a weight you're not used to, it's like you're fighting with a backpack on. All your reflexes and your motions, they're just all off. Like, you just don't feel yourself. It's like you're fighting with a backpack on. I thought it was a terrible decision to put that much weight on. He held the weight, like, well, to be fair to him. He looked decent, but I thought that was a terrible decision to put that much weight on. Like, you have to be elite to be able to put that much weight on and fight to the best of your ability. I honestly thought the fight would be similar to Nathan Heaney versus Brad Pauls. I think they fought for the British middleweight title. I think it was earlier this year. I thought it would be like maybe 8 rounds. They'd just be like the first fight. They'd just be going at it, and then I feel like one of them would have like got the other one out of there round 8-ish. But obviously I was completely wrong. And yeah, I just hope, you know, Fraser's okay. Like, that's going to take a toll on him. Like, he needed surgery. You know, it's going to take months for his cheek just to heal. And then to even think about sparring again, like, you got to think, is your cheek going to be able to hold it? Like, hold the punches? The mental demons, like the fear you're going to have sparring again after getting knocked out like that. Like, that guy's got a huge amount of rebuilding to do if you want to see him in the ring again. So yeah, I really feel for Fraser. Wishing him all the best. And, you know, these guys put so much on the line, you know. So it really annoys me when you see people, like, clowning on guys who get knocked out in boxing. You know, like, look at Anthony Joshua. Like, that's what, you know, he's in the top 5, top 10 heavyweights of the world right now. He could, you know, knock out, like, 90% of the population. But, you know, this one guy beats him and everyone's hating him online. So, yeah. Wishing Fraser Clarke the best. These guys risk so much for our entertainment. You could only wish him the best. And, you know, I wish him luck with his rebuild. I don't even know if he'll fight again. Like, he's 34. You think that's about the same age as Anthony Joshua. And everyone's saying he's finished. So, and then the next fight on the card below that was Jai Opetaia versus Jack Massey. I felt that this was the performance of the night. You can't really give Fabio Wardley the performance of the night because it was only one round, right? But, you know, Opetaia just proved he was a beast. You know, he just gave Jack Massey a boxing lesson, and he's the smaller guy, right? He's only 6'1", but he's got power. He's got great technical ability. I think he's learned really well from all his previous fights. 24 rounds with Bradis. You know, when you're in there with a top operator like that, just the information your brain downloads about boxing is so much. He looked like the real deal. Jack Massey, I give him credit, right, for taking the fight. He dared to be great. He put it all on the line, but ultimately just came up short. And then obviously we had Eubank Jr versus Szeremeta. Honestly, this performance annoyed me a little bit. Like, what has he actually learned from that fight? Like, you've just beaten up someone who he'd retired. He'd retired, and then Saudi sent him a check, and he thought, all right, I'll get up for that. I was like, what'd you learn? How'd you improve? Like, you just don't learn anything from beating up a guy who just comes for the money. Like, I know I was saying beforehand I thought it was a potential banana skin, but, you know, the guy had retired. He clearly turned up for the money. I just thought, what'd you learn? Like, you don't learn anything about yourself in a fight like that. I mean, look, I will give him credit because he got the job done right. He dropped him in the first round. He had to finish him. But, yeah, I don't know what he learns from that, you know. I was a bit annoyed. You know, he took it to fight. Like, do you need a warm-up fight, really, after a year out the ring? Like, I just don't think you learn anything from that. I don't think it helps him with his next fight at all. I think it just gave me more questions than answers for Eubank. I was like, he did not look good. That weight cut really affected him. Like, when you're in, is it like, what, the sauna suit on a treadmill a day before the fight? Like, you're dehydrated. Your body can't rehydrate that well with just one day, in just a day. Like, so I wasn't that convinced by Eubank Jr. You know, I'm thinking if he's in there with Conor Benn, I'd be concerned about him doing that weight drop again. But, you know, to play devil's advocate, if the fight's fairly soon, he won't have to drop quite as much weight as he did beforehand, obviously having a year out the ring. I think he was at about 85 kg. You need to get down to, what, you know, 70 something. So he wouldn't have to drop that much weight again, which is something. But yeah, not convinced by his performance. I wasn't looking at him and thinking, oh yeah, put him in there with Canelo, put him in there with Conor Benn. Like, I mean, the thing with Conor Benn, right, he's a natural welterweight. He's quite a small guy. He's got quite a small frame. So if he had to go above that, I would be concerned for Conor Benn. But then I just think Eubank Jr., I don't think he can get down below 160 at all. He barely got to 160, but you know, maybe now he's done it once, he'll be able to do it again. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Ben Whittaker versus Liam Cameron. Ben Whittaker made one really huge mistake. He wasn't true to himself. He didn't box the way he normally boxes. He thought, right, this is Saudi, I've got to get a knockout. He completely changed his style to try and get a knockout, you know. He's not at that point of his career where he's able to get knockouts. You know, do what he did beforehand. Box long, get into that flow state. Because I think the showboating, it's just him in his flow state, right? It's him enjoying himself, feeling his rhythm, but he just changed up his style and he looked like a normal boxer, right? And I'm assuming he wanted to get that knockout, but it just didn't work. His change in style, I think, to try and get the knockout, it just didn't work. You've not been true to yourself. You've changed who you are just to try and get a knockout. And I thought it was arrogant. And I thought it was silly. Like, be yourself. Box the way you normally box. That's why people love you. They want to see the showboating. They want to see you outboxing. Don't let these people get into your head. These people saying, oh, you can't knock him out. Oh, you've got no power. Don't listen to them, okay? Don't listen to them. It doesn't matter what they say. You know you can box, so box. Just box his head off for 12 rounds. You don't need to knock him out yet. It will come. The power comes. It's not going to come overnight, but you just have to have faith that the longer your career spans, you can get power. You look at lots of top boxers over the years. The powers come later. It's the compound effect of all the fights, all the training, that eventually that manpower comes into you. It's not just an overnight thing. So you should have cut out the noise. He should have boxed the way he normally boxed. And yeah, not a great night for Ben Whittaker. I think his stock's gone down a bit. And this is the problem with these Saudi cards, right? If you're on a Riyadh season show, you're going to have a tough competition. And that was clearly the toughest guy I've been in there with yet. And it doesn't look good when you stop the showboating, when you're, against someone who's coming to fight. You could see in Cameron's eyes, he wanted to take all of that away from Ben. And it was weird, wasn't it? The whole falling up the ring thing. Liam Cameron had the momentum, so I don't know if it would have made sense for him to instigate it. Maybe Ben was looking for a way out. This is the first time he'd been into deep waters with a live dog, as to say. Maybe he quit. Difficult to say, but I think Liam Cameron's going to feel hard done by. And yeah, weird night for Ben Whittaker. I mean, in his fairness, it's quite an easy mistake to make. Even Opetaia, he said he did it in Maris Bradis too, where he was headhunting too much, looking for the knockout too much, and forgetting to box. I think, Ben Whittaker fell into that trap. But yeah, hopefully he comes back, goes back to his usual style, because, this guy could be a star. He has so much hype. He has a lot of fans in America, especially, who love this showboating style. Maybe English people not so much, but I remember people saying that he's bigger. He's got more people talking about him in America than even they were talking about AJ. So, real potential, but just bad night, really. Bad night. Then obviously the last fight on the card was Sky Nicolson and Chapman. Yeah, kind of what I expected, really. Sky Chapman, just, outboxed her. She's hard to hit. She picks her shots well. And it was another sort of statement win for Sky Nicolson, who looked good, and maybe she'll move up and try and get that Amanda Serrano fight next. That could be exciting. But yeah, in terms of the night itself, the show, I wasn't as excited as I have been for other fights nights. I remember, the 5v5. I literally my attention was fully on the boxing for the entire show. I couldn't take my eyes off it. The AJ, the Dubois card again. I found the undercard really good. I was listening intently, but I did find myself getting a bit bored at points in this fight. After the Fraser Clarke Fabio Wardley fight, I was like, they're dragging this on a bit. To be fair, if you're in the arena, it's probably fun having the live music, but if you're just watching it on TV, it just gets a bit long, doesn't it? And can you imagine if the fight was longer? If the fight was longer than one round, we would have been up till, I don't know, 1, 2 in the morning. I think it finished about midnight in the end, didn't it? The main event was about 11, which wasn't too bad, but I did find myself getting a bit bored between the Fabio Wardley fight and the main event. But all in all, a decent night of boxing, right? You really can't complain. Entertaining undercard, drama with the falling out the ring, sort of an upset. The Whittaker Cameron draw we had a good boxing display from Opetaia. We had drama, we had a knockout from Fabio Wardley, and then we had a high class chess match, high IQ boxing 12 rounder from Beterbiev Bivol. So All in all, I really don't think you can complain. My predictions about half right, I think. I predicted Sky, I predicted Ben, so that one was wrong because it was a draw. I think I did predict Eubank Jr, but I thought it would be a bit more of a banana skin than it was. But I didn't take into account that Szeremeta had retired and then come back through, which I think you could see in the ring. You know, he just probably was there for the money. Fabio Wardley, Fraser Clarke. I did predict Fabio Wardley, but as I said, I didn't see such an early knockout. I thought with the weight Fraser would put on as well, I thought he might end up being a bit like Big Baby Miller, where the weight would allow him to not get knocked down as easily, but he might just like absorb shots and get finished on his feet. But yeah, very wrong about that. Opetaia I did think was win, but I thought Massey would take him to points. I thought Bivol would win it on points. Yeah, the fight, I thought Bivol would get more hurt in the fight, but I think he was just quite good at covering it up. And obviously Beterbiev won on points. As I said, I wasn't that mad about it, but I thought it should have been a draw. But then again, I don't really want to see it run back. I feel like it would just be a repeat of the same. I can't see it changing wildly. But this is boxing. You never know what's going to happen, right? So yeah, thank you for watching the video. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.